Cam Reddish, one of the most NBA ready prospects we have ever seen. So what happened to this guy? And today I'm just here to explain to y'all his story. When Cam Reddish was just in high school, he was regarded as the most NBA ready player other than RJ Barrett. With being listed at 6'7", 200 pounds and a lethal jump shot, it really looked like he was going to be the next great one. And coming out of high school, it was really hard to find a flaw in his game. He was ranked the third best player in the country, only behind Zion and RJ Barrett themselves. He was easily a 5-star recruit and had colleges absolutely drooling over him. But he did wind up deciding to play at Duke, and things were looking pretty good for this guy. We're not going to talk a whole lot about his career at Duke, but we will do a brief recap. For Cam Reddish, coming into Duke and with being listed now at 6'8" and almost 215 pounds, these expectations, they transferred over. Zion Williamson was a flat out star at Duke, but he also needed some help, and Cam Reddish, he delivered. He did have some spurts throughout the season, however, that were very inconsistent. But regardless of the inconsistency, he wound up having a pretty solid year. He averaged right at 13.5 points per game, 3.7 rebounds, and nearly 2 assists each and every night. And he even hit a game-winning shot that year, so he proved that he's clutch. For a guy that was considered a lethal three-point shooter in high school, those numbers didn't exactly reflect over to college. And this is what kind of scared some NBA teams. His overall field goal percentage for the year was right at 35%. And his three-point percentage, it was good, but it wasn't great, and I can definitely say we expected more out of him. He shot right at 33% from deep on the year. But don't let that number fool you, because once this guy catches fire, it's over. Now, let's flash forward to March Madness. This is when things get really weird. The freshman star did not even play in a Sweet 16 win over Virginia Tech due to what the program called a left leg injury. And it was very strange and all of a sudden, and Coach K even goes on to say this: "We didn't know until right before the game that he was not going to be able to play." Coach K also adds to that statement by saying this: "We've prepared all week with that lineup," referring to the 5-man group that included Reddish. And then boom, right before the start of the game, he can't play. And when Coach K was asked if he had any idea about Cam's return moving forward, he responded with one word, and that word was no. So during that moment, and even till this day, that's kind of weird, that whole situation. Just how before the game and everything, he was supposed to play, and then right before it starts, boom, he's not playing, sounds a little fishy to me. And this also left NBA teams with worries as well. Because you guys, you all know, you do not want to draft a player that has an injury problem. But after that situation blew over, things turned out to be just fine. Cam Reddish entered the draft and most people, including himself, had him going in the top 5. But however, his draft stock did decrease and he wound up getting picked number 10th overall by the Atlanta Hawks. And this really looked like a great pick for Atlanta and Cam Reddish. If you guys do not know, Atlanta is a very young team, and with getting a young player like Cam Reddish to add to Trae Young, it really looked like it was going to be something special. But with that being said, it hasn't been good at all. So far in the season, he's only averaging a lousy 8 points per game. He's also pitching at almost 4 rebounds and 1.5 assists per game. And trust me, I get it, y'all are probably like, yo, he's a rookie, give him some time, but just hear me out. Like I said before, with being 6'7" in high school and limitless range on his jump shot, people were saying he was the perfect NBA prospect. So with those numbers being said, let's get into why he's not performing. When the Hawks drafted Cam Reddish at 10th overall, there were 2 distinct opinions about Cam Reddish. So let's go over those 2 sides. One side, of course, his peers believed in Reddish and believed he had the type of game that would thrive in the NBA and eventually lead him to becoming one of the top rookies in his draft class. And then there's the other side. The side that couldn't believe a freshman that shot 35% from the field in college went in the top 10. And so far, that side is laughing out loud at the Hawks for picking him 10th overall. With one of the Hawks starters having an injury early in the year, Reddish began the year as a starter. But in November, he was recently relieved and put back on the bench. Some of that had to do with the guy who was starting got back healthy, but most of it had to do with Cam Reddish's play. Defensively, he's actually been pretty solid for the Hawks. I mean, he's got a pretty good body size. But offensively, he's been atrocious. His stats have been even worse than what they were in college. He is shooting a very lousy 32% from the field. And if you didn't think that was bad, listen to his 3-point percentage. From deep, he is shooting only 25% from the field. That's terrible. And you guys have to keep in mind, this guy was regarded as one of the best shooters coming out of high school and even in college. It has completely been horrible, and there's no other way to say it. I'm not going to beat around the bush and give this guy the benefit of the doubt because it is what it is. But however, this guy has a lot of potential. But at the same time, that potential doesn't mean anything if you don't tap into it. And I actually waited a while to make this video because he's been struggling ever since the year has started. I wanted to give him the benefit of the doubt and just say it was a shooting slump. But with the NBA year being halfway over almost, this isn't a shooting slump. This is how he plays. Even though Cam Reddish is experiencing a very rough rookie season, I don't think you can jump the ship just yet. But also, with that being said, it is very close. You have to think about it. Ever since high school, Cam Reddish hasn't even met his expectations. And quite frankly, he hasn't even been close. He's even underachieved and underperformed a lot. And a lot of people and coaches keep giving him the benefit of the doubt because of how good he once was. And they keep thinking that he's just going to eventually put it all together and everything's going to fall into place. But as of now, he isn't even close to putting it together. And even at Duke, he wasn't all that close. So my question is, can Cam Reddish be that star he once was? But hey man, with all this being said, that's about going to wrap up this video. I hope you guys enjoyed. I hope you guys learned something. If you are new to the channel, join the family, hit that subscribe button, and leave a like for more. And as always, let's be great. I'm out, y'all. Peace.